Welcome to On Point Live. We're serious. We're here. We're ready to go to this show. And all of a sudden, somebody in our audience out there goes, "Have fun, boys." Well, we try to do that here. Some of these guys are very serious. I'm Michael Horn, your host, but probably one of the great quarterbacks of all time, especially for the Los Angeles Rams, getting him into the Super Bowl. The one and only Vince Ferragamo. Vince, how are you doing this week?
Very good, Michael. Thank you for asking, and look forward to our invited guest today. We have a great guest coming on.
Well, don't tell him yet. Don't surprise that it's a surprise.
Surprise anybody.
Surprise.
Just hang on.
Don't blow the surprise. We got him still in wrapping paper. We're going to open it up. Our other co-host here on the show, these guys do their On Point Live, is a guy who's played all positions in football. I mean, I've seen him try to tackle. I've seen him do a lot of things. He's a great offensive lineman. My gosh, he's in the Hall of Fame. Around here, we call him Big Bad Jackie. He is the man who does the job for us all the time as the offensive lineman on Point Live, right. Jackie Slater. How do you like that one, Jack?
That was a little bit better. A little bit better.
What do you mean a little bit better?
You got his position right, though. Finally, he's not a running back, not a defensive back.
I'm not a defensive back. I'm not a running back or quarterback. But you got it right.
We got them all in
You're getting better. You're getting better.
Just in case, before you played. All right. So now we got a guest today. Who wants to do the introduction?
Wow, man.
Come on.
Well, why don't you do it, Michael?
Well, we got a
we have plenty of questions to ask.
We do have a lot. Isaac Bruce is with us today, and he played for the Rams when they were in St. Louis. Am I correct here? He
played with them in Los Angeles for a year, and then they several years.
Went to the Super Bowl there. Huh?
Several years in St. Louis.
Hall of Fame, right?
Yes, sure. And then he finished his career with the dreaded 49ers.
Yeah, he did a couple of years there, right?
Did a couple of years there.
Yeah, and something else, Fred Dreyer could have gone to the 49ers. They interviewed him, and he said no. They had Joe Montana in the year they won the Super Bowl. Fred, what's wrong with you, right?
He could have had a ring. The 49ers always want to acquire the ex-Rams.
He could have had a ring. There's no doubt about it. I remember that.
So we're brought to you by Harmony Cheese.
Yes.
Right? This is Jackie, one of your all-time favorite cheeses. Vince, you're a big fan. You like the Merlot, don't you?
I like the Merlot cheddar, obviously. It goes great with wine, and I'm the wine specialist and the sommelier over here, so obviously I know my cheeses.
Yeah, he's got the wine. I'm telling you, Ferragamo wine is very good. And Jackie, you, of course, have the whole display of all the different Harmony cheeses.
But I prefer the Abergele.
Yeah, I know you do. It's favorite.
And the smoked Gouda.
You want to announce one more?
No, it keeps going. It just keeps going and going.
His refrigerator, we got to get a picture of it. Corey Marino, our producer, is going to get it up next week. You'll be able to see they're laid out. There's like that fake grass in the background, and you just grab your cheese. All right, don't forget, check out our website, onpointlive.net. Follow us on YouTube, On Point Live with Vince and Jackie. Email us, onpoint@crntalk.com. We'll be back. On Point Live continues.
So we're going to go right straight to Brother Bruce?
Yep.
Are you going to do a formal introduction, or you?
I'll do the formal introduction here.
Yeah.
You got it there?
Yeah, I got it right here.
Okay. You will. And then try to make it snappy so we can. Vince, I should go first, right?
No, I'm going to ask him.
Oh, that's right.
I'm going to ask first. Then you're going to ask him. I had a couple questions. Then you ask him. You get into that longevity and.
Yeah.
West Coast offense.
Super Bowl 34, man. I'm getting old. How many minutes on the clock?
This one's going to be 10 minutes.
10 minutes. All right, we ready?
Yeah.
Well, let's rock.
All right, Mr. Bruce, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, we're going to have 10 minutes on the clock. It's going to be a little intro by Mike, and then we'll start asking you questions and then get right into it.
All right.
All right, here we go.
We'll go.
10 minutes on the clock. Let's party.
Welcome back to On Point Live. I'm Michael Horn, along with Vince Ferragamo and Jackie Slater, and we have an incredible guest today from the Rams organization and from the 49ers for a couple of years. Isaac Bruce, drafted, in 1994, and he totaled over 1,000 yards, actually receptions, 1,024 receptions, 15,208 yards. This man, a 16-year career with the Rams. From 94, he's drafted, he's on the Rams in 94 to 2007, goes to the 49ers, 2000 2008, 2009. Starting role with the Rams just in his second season, popped right in there. One of the great seasons by a wide receiver in league history. Listen to this one. The yardage would have been a new NFL record, except for this. Do you ever hear this guy, Jerry Rice, was in the same year? These guys were battling here, Isaac Bruce and Jerry Rice. Jerry posted 1,848 yards, and, Isaac Bruce, the first in NFL history to record 3 consecutive games with 170 or more receiving yards.
3 games.
3 games, that's right, consecutive. Right?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Got it.
Never been done before.
And it's a record. Bruce produced 8 1,000-yard seasons, 10 seasons in which he recorded 60 or more receptions. He leaves L.A., and I think the owner took him into St. Louis there, and they get into Super Bowl 34, a first-place finish that year, a Super Bowl victory, 77 receptions, 1,165 yards, 12 touchdowns, earns him an All-Pro nod. He gets into the Rams' high franchise best 13-3 record at the time.
Right.
Need I say more? He's a Hall of Famer, ladies and gentlemen, Isaac Bruce. Isaac, thanks for being with us.
Hey, fellas, thanks for having me. Brother Slater, Vince, Mike, thanks for having me on, man. Let's have some fun. Talk some memories.
Looking forward to this, Brother Bruce, for quite some time, man.
Definitely.
It's so great to have you on, Bruce, and thank you for joining us. My only regret playing in the NFL and playing for the Rams was not having you to throw to, Isaac, because we could have lit it up. It would have been so much fun for me. But I have to tell you, because you and Jackie played a couple years together with the Rams, and you wore number 80, he wore number 78, so your lockers were right next to one another. What was that like in the locker room? I mean, having to deal with this guy every day. I mean, with all his antics. I mean, how'd you put up with him being right next to you like that?
You know what? It was really special. I think when I first got drafted way back in 1994, and I'm sitting in the locker room, and I can look to my left and I can see Jackie Slater, a guy who's been in the National Football League for a very long time at that time. And then I started doing my calculations in my head that, his rookie year was 1976 and I was born in 1972. So, I was kind of putting those two things together, and I was like, wow, I'm here. But this guy here, he's been here for a very long time. And not only that, I enjoyed watching Jackie Slater dress for practice.
Ooh.
Watching him get dressed for practice was an event within itself. Taping up everything, his fingers to the pads he wore on his arms. And I watched Jackie. Jackie was a mentor of mine, just the way he practiced and went about practice like it was a game. So by the time Sunday rolled around, it was very easy for him. So I kind of picked that up from him. And every time I went out to practice, I treated it like a game. And I got that from the Hall of Famer, Jackie Slater. That's my guy.
Isaac, you should watch the way he prepares for this show. He tapes everything up just before he goes on the air with us. It's great. It's amazing.
I bet.
Well, Isaac certainly has the great work ethic, Michael.
Yes.
Absolutely.
He probably picked up from Jackie, but I'm sure he brought that to the table as well. But you know what? Nobody worked any harder than you did, Isaac. But you were such a key member of that greatest show on turf. My question to you, Isaac, is where did that name come from? And then how was that offense so special? What made it so special?
Well, I'll say the name was first spoken, in the team facility by the great Tony Horn. Tony Horn was a receiver on the team. He was a special teams ace. He did the kickoff returns for us, and I think he mentioned it. Not only that, I think he also named the touchdown celebration that we had those years, the bob and weave. So I think he's the originator of it, and we kind of latched on to it because it sounded real cool and it was different. There's there was a play on the circus, what the circus would bring to town, and when we came to town, we were bringing the greatest show on turf. But just to play with those group of guys, it's an experience that I'll never forget. When we talk about team sports and just how important team sports is, from a camaraderie to, just genuinely liking each other and being around each other, being able to celebrate each other. We truly had that with the greatest show on turf. And I've been on a lot of different teams and in a lot of different locker rooms with a lot of different faces. But that era, that really sticks out as my professional football career to me.
You're absolutely right, and I remember being fortunate enough to, at the end of my career, to be able to come there and watch you practice and to watch you interact with your teammates. Some very special guys, Marshall Falk, Orlando Pace, and you're just a ton of great football players I watched.
Yes.
And the thing that I wondered about, I used to look at guys like you, and I would say, these guys are going to have an opportunity to experience a lot of glamour and experience, just the names being called every time they catch a ball. And whereas a big guy like me, only might get my name called in a game for holding. And I remember watching you, Ike, and I remember thinking to myself, this guy works so hard. I wonder how is he going to be able to last. And so when I look back and I see that you played 16 years in the National Football League, I know how difficult it was for me to get the couple of decades in that I did. Tell me about that process, your mindset, and
Right.
what were you thinking, as you prepared for a season?
Well, Jackie, I think it's like this because, as rookies, when I came in '94, probably when you came in '76, there were statements or proclamations or prophecies that people say, this only lasts so long. You've been an offensive lineman, you probably only last 3 years in the league, or you probably only last, 3 years in the National Football League as a wide receiver.
Right.
When I heard stuff like that, I chose not to believe it. I chose to believe that I can play as long as I wanted to play. I can be highly productive as long as I wanted to be highly productive. So that was always my mindset. If it didn't agree with some of the goals that I set for myself, I was quick to really just, pluck it out like a weed and replant another thought. And I think that's what helped my longevity. And on top of that, I saw guys like you. You played 20. I saw guys like Jerry Rice. He was playing, 10 plus years. Michael Irvin, he played a while. Other guys like Henry Ellert, he played, a very long time in the National Football League.
That's
and
right.
I figured if those guys could do it, I can do it the exact same way. And from a nutrition standpoint, I think that was really a key in my career. I started to learn about nutrition, what worked with the body, what didn't work for the body. And I really honed in on that, probably after my 8th or 9th year. And that really pushed me to really have the longevity that I had.
Mm. Well, you never would have thought that you would have played as long as you did when people watch you work. In fact, I remember a scenario where it was said that, one of the reasons why you had pulled a hamstring was because you didn't participate in the off-season program for enough reps, and you didn't have 55% participation in the off-season program, and that was the reason why you were hurt. But then I came to find out, I'm thinking, how could that be? I come to find out when Mike Marks was hired as the offensive coordinator, one of his main charges was to make sure that he got you healthy and kept you on the field, and the number one thing he did was limit your reps. Because I don't ever remember you being a guy that didn't work hard. And that was the problem. You were overworking and therefore hurting yourself, and you just had inability to take yourself out of those situations. Talk to me about, if you were a young guy, a young Isaac Bruce, how would you advise him about the difference between tough, tenacious working and then being healthy, keeping yourself healthy?
Well, you know what? The first thing I would try to convey is that the wisdom part of the game is extra important. The nutrition part of it is important as well. And I've heard some great players throughout their careers and throughout interviews and other things that I've heard them say is that sometimes rest is best. So
all right, we're going to find out about that, Isaac. Hang on here. We got a quick break coming up. More with Isaac Bruce. It's On Point Live. Vince Ferragamo, Jackie Slater. Brought to you by HarmonyCheese.com. Email us onpoint@crntalk.com. Don't forget, we're giving away some Harmony cheese packages along with Vince Ferragamo wine. So get that website at onpoint@crntalk.com. We'll be back on Point Live.
Sync with my questions.
You're fine. All you got to do is if he holds up to 1 minute, just don't ask a question.
Or just say you got a quick response
Yeah,
for this.
yeah. Well, that's all right. We'll come right back to it.
We got to send Isaac some cheese and some wine, huh?
Yeah.
Please.
It's going to be good. You're going to like it.
West Coast.
Good Super Tuscan wine.
Yes, the Merlot with it.
Goes
It's
with
got
anything
some
you
Merlot
like.
in it.
I got
there.
this one last question. I got one more question.
I know, but she's going to answer this one because we kind of cut him off.
Yeah,
Finish
yeah.
up.
You want to ask him a question, Michael?
Yeah, I'll jump in. You guys are doing
You
fine,
can.
though. You're good.
Okay.
Okay, ready to go. Let me see. We got, what do we have on this one? Again, this is
Okay.
12 minutes here on the clock. Ready to go when you are.
Okay.
We're back on Point Live. I'm Michael Horn, along with Vince Ferragamo, Jackie Slater from the Rams. And, a lot of times we just kind of keep it in the Ram family if we can. So our guest today is Isaac Bruce, part of the greatest show on turf, the bob and weave of celebrations in the end zone. And just before the break, Isaac, you were talking about kind of the differences here, what you need to do to last in the NFL, and you were getting into some things there, nutrition, and we kind of paused you there on sleep. Now, this is not a health show, but I've found over the years, seriously, to learn from athletes, you got to kind of be prepared and get your rest. So
That's right.
Finish your thoughts there, Isaac. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's definitely important being able to, experience rest, force yourself to rest if you have to at times, and do all you can to learn about nutrition, what works with the body, what foods work with the body, what doesn't work with the body. So to me, that was extra important. So the one thing I would tell a younger version of myself is that, your mindset going in to anything that, at a high level, playing football at a high level, is of the utmost importance. You believing that you can do something starts between the ears, and that would be the info or the wisdom that I would give to a younger version of myself.
Wow, that's
I love to watch sports for the concentration value, and talking to you guys and talking to guests we've had on the show, it is all about concentrating and giving it that little extra advantage. You have to be there, be in person on the ground, and have your feet planted there. And I think that nutrition, everything is part of. When you guys retire, do you continue doing that? You guys are in good shape. Isaac Bruce, you look in good shape.
Yeah.
What's the secret now as you continue?
That's the same thing. It's part of the routine or the habits that you built while you were playing, and continue to participate in those habits. So getting the nutrition, getting workouts, training, those things are always important so that you'll live a healthy lifestyle. And you're also working to keep this cardiovascular system functional. So walks, little light runs, and things like that helps. Guys like myself and guys like Jackie and Vince look the way that we look. So it's important to us, and it becomes a habit that is hard to break.
Let me ask you one other question here on that line. In your deepest, darkest moments, you, Isaac Bruce, Jackie Slater, Vince Ferragamo, don't you sometimes just want to flop on the bed and turn on a James Bond movie and sit there with a beer or something? Does that ever happen? Isaac, we start with you first. Is there a moment when you just kind of let it all go for a while?
Mike, I think we all want that, but the thing is, just how long do you allow it to happen? Mine may be for 30 minutes, and I get up and I go do something else. Other people may be for an hour, and then unfortunately, you got people that do it for 5 and 6 years at a time.
Well, that's bad.
I'd rather go 30 minutes at a time, get me a little rest, and just say forget it. But I get back on the horse and
At my age, Michael, I gotta tell you,
a James Bond movie's 2.5 hours, so you got to give it that.
I gotta tell you, at my age, though, I watched the movie the other night, Conclave.
Oh boy!
And I fell asleep at the movie. So
you fell asleep.
You didn't
it's
get
like,
the pick or anything.
no,
Sounds like a
just
routine.
it was
Sounds
a
like a
good
routine.
movie, but
Jackie, how about you?
Well, I have a tendency to try to stay active. I try to go 3-4 days a week to the gym and get some cardio, get some lifting, so I want to just, turn into a big blob, because I still have a pretty hearty appetite.
Yeah, you know what he ate for lunch today, don't you?
Don't look at me when you guys say a big blob.
I still have a pretty hearty appetite, and I know that if I eat the way and enjoy different foods that I do and don't train and don't lift, I'm going to run into some more health issues.
Plus, there's the team camaraderie when you work out. Vince,
Yes,
you and
I
I have
know.
known each other a long time, and we went to the Rams, and they were introducing themselves when they came back to L.A. And I remember you walking up to me, and let's just say it wasn't my most fit performance of a lifetime. And you kind of looked at me and says, "Hey, Mike, working out?" And you kind of hit the gut a little bit. Immediately back to the gym. Thank you, Vince.
Right.
I'm glad it had something to do with
Thank you so much.
your motivation.
By the way, Vince
But
worked out before we got in the car to drive 2 hours up
Exactly.
here.
I agree with Isaac. You gotta keep
That's
training.
right.
You gotta keep physical fitness.
You gotta
going.
wake up.
But I
You
have to
fell asleep
jog.
during
I have to
conclave.
jog Isaac's memory a little bit. You know, he played in Super Bowl 38, Jackie. We played in 34. I'm sorry.
34,
we
yeah.
played in Super Bowl 14. So 20 years later, you played. And you know what you guys won that game, and that probably had to be the highlight, one of the highlights of your career, though, really, Isaac. But in that last final drive, you caught the winning touchdown. Now,
Yeah.
you didn't sit there thinking, I don't want the ball, because you guys were the greatest show on turf. Everybody wanted to touch the ball. But
That's
were you
right.
thinking, did you have this idea in your mind that, hey, Kurt just got to throw me the ball because I'm going to score a touchdown. I'm going to get this thing done.
Yeah.
I mean, it had to come across your mind. Say, I want the ball. Or did you always want the ball like that?
Oh, every play. I mean,
right.
I'm a wide receiver.
gotta
I
want it.
believe that, you know, when any little kid growing up, when he's imagining playing football and playing at a high level in the National Football League, he always sees himself as a wide receiver catching the game-winning pass. I mean, that's just the way it is. So,
Even if you weigh 300 pounds, you do that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I mean, you want to get in the end zone and do the Billy White shoes dance. You know, that was I saw when I was coming up. But yeah, absolutely. That moment in the Super Bowl. You know, the interesting thing about it is that it was a play where I never get the ball on that play. Any of the outside guys never get the ball on that play. We were 2-by-2. And what we normally do is just run everybody down the field and we just drop it off to Marshall and see what he can get before the 2-minute warning came out. So, you know, it's just something on the inside of me was telling me, you know what, this is it. This is your moment right here. And just so happened that defense was middle field closed and the safety comes down and they were pressed on the outside, but we're not impeding the process off the ball. So I got a free release and I was able to run down the field. Didn't have to fight at the line of scrimmage at all. And I saw that ball coming, Vince.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, man, I had been there 1,000 times already in my mind as a kid back in Fort Lauderdale. And, you know, just to be able to catch it and to finish it, that play, that place, that moment, as big as Super Bowls are, yeah, it was definitely a dream come true for me.
So that advice that you would send to young kids today is just keep playing, just keep believing in yourself, work hard, great work ethic, have respect for the game, respect for one another. Don't you think that's great advice for young kids today?
Oh, absolutely. I think, you know, as players, we can go into weight rooms and do a lot of things physically on a football field and in a weight room to be prepared. But the mental process of it is it's a 24/7 deal. You know, you can always use your imagination. You can always see yourself with your footwork from your stance, your start to releasing off the line of scrimmage to catching the point of the football to tucking it away, to running, making people miss and getting in the end zone. I feel that that's a part of the work that can always be done. And we should always be utilizing it.
Before we leave this, I just want to, this is a magic moment in life. I mean, you play a game in football, you play baseball, whatever, you play cards if you want to, you're playing poker. Sometimes you have that feeling that comes into your head that this next card is going to be this, or this next ball is going to come right to me, and I'm going to go ahead and catch this ball, and I'm going to have the touchdown. That happens to all of us. And is that from, you mentioned from practicing and visualizing it so much over your careers? It's almost like magical, because then it happens and it's there and you go like, that's it. And sometimes when you see it and then you don't try to go for it, you go, my God, I saw it. I knew that it was going to be coming. This is something that goes beyond the game of football and it becomes almost like a spiritual connection to it. Do you guys all sense that when you play?
Well,
you know what? I'd like to say it's supernatural because
yeah.
you know, when you listen to Darrelle Revis in his Pro Football Hall of Fame speech, he mentioned visualization, which is something that we all practice.
Right.
And you know, those moments, you have to see yourself in those moments before you actually go out and perform those moments.
Right.
And you wonder why a guy like Barry Sanders never spikes the ball, because he's been there 1,000 times and he expects to get back, because it's not new to him. It may be new to the fans, but he's already been there within his mind and his imagination.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, I never ran other than that fumble that I picked up from Eric. I never caught a ball. I never was handed off a ball.
Yes.
But there are very few people that you will meet that had to walk to the line of scrimmage and deal with the likes of Howie Long or Reggie White or Too Tall Jones. And I got no sleep the night before I play those guys because I'm blocking them and trying to figure out how to keep them at bay in my sleep.
On the show last week, somebody moves to the left, you're getting ready to move to the right or whatever. It is the observation of doing it so often. And same with you, Vince, when you throw the ball, you got an idea before you see how the field goes out, but you kind of have a feeling this is what we're going to, a long bomb, I'm going to make this one.
Like Isaac said, everybody's got to work hard to get open on every play. You never know when it's going to happen. And so you don't predetermine where you're going with the football. The coverage, the defense, the play brings you where it's going to happen with the football, and it just happens, like you say, supernaturally, and that's what's happened to us. But as you know, Isaac, this is a team game. You can't do it yourself, and you got to depend on offensive linemen. You have to depend on the receivers, the coaching staff. It all comes together, and I think that's the mark of a champion, and we couldn't do it without the help of one another. And if you make everybody else that much better, that makes you the best player on the field. And we really enjoyed watching you play.
Especially as a quarterback. Can I ask Isaac one more question?
A minute and a half, yeah.
And this is why, Isaac, I've wondered about this. I don't think I've ever asked you, but, the whole time we were at the Rams, certainly the 20 years that I was there and the whole time that you were there, 14 years, our dreaded and hated enemy was the San Francisco 49ers. And then I got to look up. I'm in retirement, and I'm enjoying retirement, and I got to look up and see my favorite wide receiver at the Rams of all times out there with a San Francisco 49er with a San Francisco 49er uniform on.
Here we go.
What in the world? How did we get to that point, Isaac? Please tell me.
Jackie, let me tell you, man. It was
30 seconds to calm them down, Isaac. Go for it.
The hardest thing I ever had to do. You guys mentioned that Fred Dreyer. It's a reason why I like to show Hunter. He refused to go to San Fran. But listen, I had a little bit more football in me, and they were the takers. It was a perfect spot. I tried to sabotage, but I just couldn't make myself do it.
Great answer.
Best of luck, Isaac. And if we can help your foundation, Isaac Bruce Foundation, let us know. We love to help.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you, man. Love you guys. Love you, Jackie.
All right, man. Appreciate you. I'll talk to you later.
Isaac Bruce, thanks for being with us. We're going to take a quick break, come back with more on Point Live.
The greatest receiver I played with.
The greatest receiver on turf. I'll tell you that. We'll be back with more on Point Live. Thanks for being with us. Check it out with our website, onpointlive.net. YouTube, follow us there, On Point Live with Vince and Jackie. Okay, never mind.
Brother Bruce, thank you so much, man.
Put me on your show, man. Thank you.
Thanks,
All
Isaac.
right.
Thank you.
Make sure you let him know when he can watch
Yeah,
that.
we got to set that stuff.
Okay.
I'll text him.
He'll love it. I
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. It's a great
Make
idea.
sure we have his
stuff.
address and everything so we can send him.
I'll get it after the show.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to talk about Matt Stafford a little bit now?
yeah.
You see how sharp he was?
Great.
Oh, you could tell how thoughtful he was, right?
man.
As a receiver, can you tell?
Yeah.
So calm and so.
Vince, when I sit down right here, and you know me, I'm always got some.
Did you like my first question about the locker?
That was great because he didn't know how to take me at first.
Yeah, right, I know.
And I found out that this guy's pretty serious.
Yeah.
Remember that I told you? Because I would be getting, go get me some water. And he would go,
This guy.
He's
an old man, man.
I mean, and it didn't take me long to figure out that he was the type of guy that was focused and, don't be toying around with this guy.
I mean,
This guy going to help you win games. This guy don't play.
Perception. Like, look at his education that he's got about the system.
Yeah.
I mean, he just knows.
Yes. And that's everything he say not coincide with what we believe, you and I,
Yeah.
relative to preparing and being good at what you do.
You see that play that he designed, that he caught the winning touchdown? It wasn't designed to go to him. He was going to run a route.
I was wondering if you were thinking with him as he described.
I was.
He
I was
gave you
following
the
his
coverage
play.
about the middle of the field.
Right,
everything.
they were just going to dump it off to Marshall, let him get what he could. It was 2 minutes, but then he was wide open when he was running down the field.
So
I'm open, man. And
it's also a testimony to Kurt Warner seeing that.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
All right, we ready to go here? This is 14 minutes on the clock.
That's super.
14 minutes. We're talking about Stafford. And let's see, this is our last long segment, so we can go from there to
Isaac is gone,
Deebo
right?
Samuel.
Yeah, he's gone.
Who is what?
Isaac's gone.
Oh, yeah, Isaac's gone. And then do you want to talk a little bit, if we get to time, about the Lakers?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to go Stafford, Cup, Debo traded, and then Lakers?
Yep. Stafford, Cup, and then the Lakers.
Yeah.
All right, 14 minutes in this segment.
Oh, yeah, we get through quick.
If we get a chance, we'll talk about high-priced people in L.A., players, too.
Oh, yeah,
all right, 14 minutes on the clock. Welcome back to On Point Live. I'm Michael Horn, along with the great Jackie Slater, the incredible Vince Ferragamo, and again, thanks to Isaac Bruce for being on the show. You know, one thing, guys, a lot of us, I think of myself as the fan here on the show, asking the questions of you guys, the experts. But when you look at a football game, a baseball game, a basketball game, and you're like, how do you handle it with the crowd going nuts and there's 15 seconds left in the game and you got to make a catch? And I talked to the great Jay Johnstone, who was a great player for many teams, like 8 teams, and also a pinch hitter. I said, how do you do it? Pinch hitting at the end of the game. And he just looked at me and says, it's my job. And if that's your job and you guys are great at your job, you concentrate on what you're doing. So you've seen, both of you, am I correct, Vince and Jackie, you've seen it every which way.
And the interesting thing, and I'm sure Vince can tell you this, but for me, I understand that my position has limitations. But what I did in my position, when I say limitations, I mean of grand exposure for making big splash plays. But what I did come to realize from my position that none of those big splash plays were going to happen if I didn't do my job skillfully against a dynamically explosive and exceptional athletes. That's what I was having to deal with, and it required, the utmost attention being paid to getting the job done.
And focus and attention to detail, Mike, and just knowing your preparation, with the work that you put in, that's going to come to a conclusion. And so you have to apply that. You have to be ready and focused. And that's the main key.
And again, getting back to Fred Dreyer, I mean, during TV breaks, he said some players would be looking in the stands. He'd be looking at the opposing sidelines, watching the quarterback talk to the coach. Depending on how long they were in the huddle, he would know what the play was going to be coming out, depending on time, where there was a run or a pass. You must have done that sometimes from the bench when you're looking
you can see
at the
pre-alignment. You can see substitutions.
Pre-alignment, right,
Jackie?
Jackie?
See all this kind of stuff.
Yes.
You have to pick up on the attention to detail is the key. And mechanics is really important. So if you're fundamentally mechanically sound, then you can function at a high level, and that's what it basically takes.
Okay, attention to detail. Now, in the last couple of weeks, Jackie Slater, one of the most incredibly observant people that I know, a couple of weeks ago, Matthew Stafford needed to stay with the Rams no matter what. In fact, it was no matter what's one of those things there.
Absolutely.
Last week, it was like, well, if he wants to go, let him go. Now, Vince, it looks like he's staying with the Rams, right?
He's staying with the Rams. And, that was just the gesture of look and see what your value is out there. The Rams really never had any plan to trade him or to let him go. No. They wanted to satisfy his premonition that what's on the open market, what I can go out and achieve. The Rams are going to make it financially sound for him. He's going to make $40 million this year. I mean, if you average out his signing bonuses, they're going to give him a little bit of an advance for sure. This is like a bonus. He deserves it.
He's not
going anywhere.
Vince came up with this number of $40 million.
Well, wait a minute.
This guy got 13 people making $50 million ahead of him. Neither one of them been to the playoffs.
Jackie,
that's what he makes now. They're going to give him a little bit of an incentive.
Go ahead.
I was just wondering, were you part of the plan to have indecision about Matthew Stafford here? Did the Rams call you and say, hey, we need to pull one for the team?
No, the Rams did not ask me.
So what you think now?
Well, I mean, first of all, and I said this. You asked the question, do the Rams have a chance of being in the playoffs, perhaps going to the Super Bowl without Matthew Stafford?
No.
Vince answered it first and said no. I answered it second,
and I said no.
And I could confirm what he said, and I still believe that. But I also believe that with there being such a seemingly snag in moving the thing out of, where it's taken care of with Matthew Stafford.
Right.
If we all agree that he's that important, why allow this thing to drag out? Is it being allowed to drag out because your scouting department, your general manager, the people who go out and get the personnel have secured someone else that they know and feel 100% comfortable with putting out there instead of Matthew Stafford? And that was the question that I posed.
I think it could have been allowing his wife Kelly to increase the viewership on her podcast.
That's right. Look, there was
Well,
no,
I mean, I
there
don't
was
know
no
about
intention ever to leave
That's what
Southern
you're saying.
California. Okay, was he going to go to New York?
I don't know.
Is he going to go to the Giants? I mean, he can't. He's not in the position to impress and to start over again. He's at the end of his career. He's going to finish in L.A.
And
He's
that
got
is
2
a good
years
point.
remaining on his
That's
contract.
a great point that Vince makes.
Right. He's not going to go anywhere to try to duplicate his efforts as what he's already done. He's made a big impression here. He knows this is the best place to be.
Right.
This is the best office, and there's a lot of familiarity. His wife, Kelly Stafford, enjoys living in Southern California. So does he. He doesn't want to be in the cold weather. I mean, come on. More importantly, if he goes to New York, he's got to face Philadelphia, the Washington, the Dallas Cowboys twice. He doesn't want to do that.
That's
no
a
quarterback
tougher-
wants to
that's
do
a
that right
tougher
now, not in
division
this
to-
league.
to
right now.
dominate.
Yeah,
Much
he's
tougher.
in the West right now. He's got Seattle. He's got the Cardinals. They're stumbling,
And the
bumbling,
49ers
and humbling around.
with no Deebo
and the
Samuel.
49ers, yeah, they're gone.
Besides, Aaron Rodgers wants that New York Giants quarterback job.
Well, that's gonna.
Well,
We'll see.
that's
Well,
a
God
horse.
boy,
Of, that's a horse of a different color.
Okay.
When we start talking about Aaron Rodgers here, first of all, Aaron Rodgers towards Achilles a couple of years ago, and who knows how that thing is doing. Matthew Stafford hasn't. But I think the Rams have done themselves well. They gave themselves an opportunity to be competitive this year again, and even more so now that the young teams from the last 2 years that they drafted, the kids from the last 2 years that they've drafted, have grown and matured and are in the prime of their young careers right now. They're going to get. I told Vince I saw Braden Fisk, right?
Yes.
I saw Braden Fisk at an autograph session that we had this past week, and I could not believe my eyes. I asked him. I walked up to him and I introduced myself to him. I shook his hand and I asked him, if you don't mind me asking, how much do you weigh? He said, I weigh 295 pounds. And I looked at him and I thought to myself, that is the best looking 295 pounds I have ever seen in my life. Guy looks like a linebacker.
They have some
and you
good young
wonder why
talent,
he's
the Rams
swatting
do.
these big fat offensive linemen and throwing them around and moving his feet, and people can't get to him because he's a big, graceful athlete.
That's it.
And you've also talked about Matt Stafford about talking to Tom Brady with the Raiders. He's not going to go in the AFC West to play
Yeah.
Kansas City,
No,
to play
no.
Denver. They're not going to.
So he's there. He's with the Rams.
Chargers.
Oh,
One other thing while I'm thinking about
Yes.
it. You asked me about Matthew Stafford.
Yes.
Matthew Stafford's deal just got worked out, the last 48 hours or
Yeah,
so, right, Vince?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he signed.
Well, now, you and I have found out recently that Alaric Jackson, the big left tackle, he got his deal worked out
with the Rams as well.
a little bit longer, a few more days ago, right?
Yes.
So remember what I said. If they let Alaric Jackson go, it doesn't matter who's playing quarterback.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter. But now you got to know that Matthew Stafford is feeling pretty good.
Okay.
Well, what about Cooper Cup? Now that's another guy.
Alaric Jackson is no joke.
Cooper Cup. We're talking about Cooper Cup,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
there's
my
no
goodness.
guarantee that he'll be around. And they're saying, well, it's been great 8 years. I mean, that's
didn't
almost
like
like
it.
encouraging him to leave.
Yeah, but I didn't like
this is a great receiver. He's got a great rapport with the quarterback. He's got a great rapport with this offense. I think it's a mistake to let him go. That's my comment. But we'll see what happens.
But let me ask you this, Vince.
Yes.
You and I, on the way in, we were listening to the podcast where Sean McVay was talking about his relationship with the great Cooper Cup.
Yes.
And you said to me, he won't be back.
No, it didn't sound like he's going to
It
come
didn't.
back.
It was just too much praise being heaped on a player in a way that I thought I had heard 1,000 times a coach say great things about a player that he knows is not going to be on his team.
We'll see.
And that was a
going to
little
see what
disappointing
happens.
to me,
Yeah,
Vince.
it's still
Well, but wait a
disappointing.
minute. The Sean McVay also told reporters, and I'm going to quote now, I would never, when they asked him, he said, is his chance, is the door been closed on Cooper Cup? And Sean said, quoting, I would never speak in absolutes, he said, and when he asked if the Cup was completely out of the question. So maybe there's a possibility.
It's always the door is still kind of cracked.
I mean, there's
still
money
cracked.
owed
He may
down the
stay
line
there. He
on
may
Cup,
leave.
yeah.
But I don't know. I think the only people that really have any insight on that are the
Wait a minute. On the way in, you were emphatic that the guy was gone.
Well, but no, as you know, they don't want to actually come out and bluntly say that right now at this point, Jack. They just want to leave the door. There's a question mark right there. So I mean, you know, if they do that, if they can save some money, they're thinking that. I don't think it doesn't. You know, it should not be a concern for the Rams
think he's gone?
on the money side.
You think he's gone?
Well, the way they were talking, I think he's going
Based on the way
to.
they're
That's their number one plan. But if they can get him back for a song, then maybe it takes a cut and
Jackie,
paste.
what do you think?
Well, from what we heard on the way in, it sounds like there was a lot of grace, a lot of praise being heaped on a guy that was no longer going to be.
Well, there's other guys they got to be talking to because they wouldn't be proceeding with
Now,
this
hold on a
trade
second.
talks if they didn't have a backup plan.
Before the show today, you guys were heaping a lot of grace and praise on me. Does that mean anything in particular?
I think you walked in the room a little bit too soon.
Corey Marino's in
You
the
should have
seat
come
next
in the room like 10 minutes later when we were asking, where were you? Why weren't you here on time?
Keep
Your
my
food is
corn.
getting cold.
Email us onpoint@crntalk.com. All right, so where are some of these quarterbacks going to go? We've been speculating for a while. What do you think? The Raiders, someone mentioned Sam Darnold. You
Sam
think?
Darnold looks like he's a front runner to go to the Raiders. Yeah, I think so. So we'll see what happens there.
How about the Jets? Who wants to go to the Jets? Anybody want to volunteer?
I don't know.
Put your hand down.
They're going to use their draft pick. They're going to use their draft pick.
How about Jameis Winston?
Possibility. That's so
As a
They're gonna
backup,
have to have
as a
some
back, they're going to
veteran-
draft a quarterback because
Even
they're
if they
top
draft
three.
a guy, don't you think it's good to have a veteran quarterback there, Vince?
Oh yeah, for sure. To help the young receiver.
Steelers going to make a change?
Well, they signed
Justin Fields?
Justin Fields.
Yeah.
So I mean but they're going to have to move on. I think too. They got to find someone. They might even draft a quarterback.
What about
Again.
the Colts? Indy. Daniel Jones?
Daniel Jones?
Well,
Yeah, that's
a
probably
possibility.
The
that's
Browns,
something
they thought
more likely.
process Kirk Cousins, but has he been released yet? I don't know if he's been released,
don't
Kirk
know.
Cousins. Russell Wilson, maybe for the Titans, huh? And that's where he's going to end up, you think?
It's getting a little long in the tooth, you know, when
Yeah.
you think about it. Vince,
Yeah.
Vince, I mean, you played a long time, 10
Yeah.
years.
What do you think? You're the expert.
I mean,
Yeah.
when is that? I can remember what it felt like in my 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th years playing the game at a I like to think a high level. And then I can also remember, you know, my 17th year, which was the last year I played every game. And in my 18th year, I popped a pec doing routine stuff. When is it that quarterbacks, in your opinion, start kind of hitting the, you know?
Well, you know, first of all, Jackie, you know, a rookie quarterback coming in the league needs a couple years of experience under his belt. I mean, there's only a very few guys that could ever. Stroud did it last year. Jaden Daniels did it. Very unbelievable feats that they were able to step in as a rookie and do what they've done. But as a quarterback now, the rules are different. I mean, they can last a lot longer than when we played because they don't take the severe hits that we used to have. But you know, guys like Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, yeah, they probably still have something left in the tank. But so much of a quarterback is system related and coaching and you know, just, you know, being accepted to the franchise that you're going to. And it has to be the right fit. And the right fit is for the general managers to figure out. Howie Roseman does it better than anyone.
Absolutely.
So in Philadelphia, I mean, that we didn't even talk about them signing, you know, Saquon Barkley.
How about
now.
that?
That's unbelievable. Highest paid running back.
How about that, Vince? Everybody else wants to throw the running back position away, undervalue it. Say many of them say they'll never pay that guy, and Howie Roseman
different now?
$20 million a year for a running back.
Debo Samuel's traded. You got 30 seconds here to comment. Washington Commanders.
He's going to help the Commanders, I think.
Good riddance. Good riddance. He's out of the NFC West.
He was too
the Rams
talkative,
will
I
have to
think, in the
deal with
locker
it.
room. So, I mean, he didn't work out for the 49ers. But
All
he's
right,
still a good
Harmony
receiver.
Cheese is the cheese we want you to have. Go to their website, harmonycheese.com. They're the sponsor of the show. Great cheeses. Pairs well with Vince Ferragamo wines.
Super Tuscan.
Super
Yeah,
Tuscan,
Caressa
great
J.
blend there for you. You could win some if you go ahead and send us your name and address. Email it to us to onpoint@crntalk.com. Onpoint@crntalk.com. A Harmony Cheese package coming to your door. In the meantime, order some. HarmonyCheese.com. The cheese of On Point Live. The cheese here of everybody on the show. The big cheeses love the cheese from HarmonyCheese.com. Welcome back to On Point Live. I'm Michael Horn with Vince Ferragamo and Jackie Slater. Check us out, CRN1 at crntalk.com, Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Pacific in the replay, Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific time, Saturday 8 a.m. and Sunday 6 p.m. Pacific, and on Sports Byline and CRN2 Saturdays at 8 a.m. All right. Basketball.
Yeah.
Vince, Jackie, what do you think about these Lakers?
The Lakers, I like the Lakers. You know, I've always been living in Southern California my whole life. Always been a big Laker fan, but more recently now with the addition of Luka Doncic. Okay, Jackie, him and LeBron both averaging 26 points a game. They've won their last 5 games in a row. They're the second-rated team in the West out here, and since April 15th, they have the best winning record in basketball. So this team is on the move now.
Yes.
And Riddick's got them playing complementary basketball.
Right.
Okay, LeBron James understands where the team is at. Okay, it's Luka's team. Okay, but it's not a one-man show. It's not LeBron's show.
Vince, don't you think LeBron now is more at home than he was at Cleveland and like he was in Miami when he had Bosh and Wade and those guys?
That's right, and Love and Kyrie Irving.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. It was like
Same
the big
thing.
three. It was like the big three.
That's right.
And all those guys could handle the ball just like they're doing right now. And I love Austin Reeves. I'm telling you, this team right now to me is getting scary.
All right, Christmas Day, Dallas was 19-11, number 4 seed. Lakers were 17-13, number 6. Today, Dallas is 32-29, the number 10 seed. Lakers are 38-21, the number 2 seed. What does that tell you?
Yeah, well, Kyrie Irving just suffered an ACL tear, and I feel so bad because I really like his play. But
Unbelievable.
what he's had to do now on his own with the Mavericks is just too incomprehensible.
Yes.
It's just too much for one
That's
person
the way
to do.
I felt like he was being pressed. I felt like he was pressing himself to get to and stay at a level that he was used to experiencing with Luka there. With
Tells me we're out of time, guys. Want to remind everybody, HarmonyCheese.com, our sponsor. Check out their website, HarmonyCheese.com. Check us out at OnPointLive.net. Subscribe to On Point Live, our video channel with Vince and Jackie. And you can also check us out on Instagram at on.point.live. Email us, win some cheese and some Vince Ferragamo wine. Send us your name and address to onpoint@crntalk.com, onpoint@crntalk.com. Vince, Jackie.
Don't forget to stay on point.